All right, what's the difference between a fish and a guitar? You can't tune a fish. Anyways, this is Solving One-Step Equations 3.3a. Here we go. We're going to define our job here, define the I can statement, and then do 5 short example problems. So what you need to do is be able to solve one-step equations using either multiplication, addition, subtraction, or division. That's our goal. All right, before we get started, know when solving equations, the goal is to find the value of the variable. And the variable is the letter, okay? So in a lot of cases, it's going to be X, it could be A, it could be B, it could be any letter that represents something that varies. Hence the word variable. You can do this by performing the opposite operation of the equation. So here's the first example. 6x means the same thing as 6 times x equals 42. Notice this equation is one expression on the left, 6x, set equal to an expression on the right, 42. So the question is, what's x? You guys will know right away, in this case, x has to be 7. But there's an algebraic way that I want you to show your work. So you would write on your second line, you would write 6x divided by 6 equals 42 divided by 6. Why are we dividing by 6? Because it's the opposite of multiplying by 6, and we want to eliminate x. So now the question is, what is 6 divided by 6? 6 divided by 6 is 1. So this cancels out to 1 times x equals 42 divided by 6 is 7. What's 1 times x? It's x. So x must equal 7. So that's how we algebraically, step by step, solved for x. I want to focus on this spot right here because this is where some kids get tripped up. Why is 6x over 6 just equal to x? Well, think about it like this. 6x over 6 is the same thing as 6 over 6 times x. And this is 1. And 1 times any number is that number. So that's how come when we did the opposite, we got rid of the number by the letter x. All right, let's do one more example. Okay, here we go. X minus 15 equals 32. In this case, we want to get x all by itself. So in the next line, I'm going to write x minus 15 equals 32, but I'm going to add 15 to both sides of the equation. And when I do that, when I do this addition, I'm going to get x on the left-hand side, and I'm going to get 47 on the right-hand side. How did I get just x on the left-hand side? A negative 15 plus 15 is 0, and x minus 0 is just x. So again, we did the opposite. It was subtract 15, so we added 15 to both sides. Remember, whatever you do to one side to get x by itself, you have to also do to the other side, because an equation is like a balance. Okay, this time we have a positive 16 on the left-hand side. So I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. So I'm going to rewrite the problem here. 16 plus x equals 34. And now I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. 16 minus 16 is 0. I'm going to go ahead and write the 0 this time, plus x, because the x hasn't left. And 34 minus 16, I'm going to do some borrowing here. Okay, that's 8 and 1, so 18. So that means x, because 0 plus x is just x, equals 18. Now on this problem, I'm going to show you how to check your answer. If x equaled 18, you should be able to plug it back into the original problem and check it to see if it works. So in this case, it would be 16 plus, insert for x, 18 equals 34. And indeed, 16 plus 18 does equal 34, so you get a true statement of 34 equals 34. Because of that, you know you did it right. Here's the second to last equation. Okay, this is a little different. This is x divided by 9 equals negative 8. So because we're dividing by 9, we're going to do the opposite. And the opposite of division is multiplication. Just like in this example way back here, where we said, okay, what's the opposite of multiplication? It was division. We divided because they were multiplying. Well, here it's like kind of switched around. We're dividing, so we need to multiply. You might say, well, what should we multiply by? Multiply by whatever else is on the x side. So the left-hand side here of the equation has the x term. See that? And the right-hand side doesn't. So I need to multiply by the 9 on both sides because I want to get rid of 9. So remember, how to multiply by 9 in fraction form is to turn it into a fraction. And over here, I'm just going to write times 9. And so what happens here is if you cross simplify, the 9's cancel each other out, and you're left with 1 times x over 1 equals negative 72. You may notice already that x divided by 1 is just x, and x times 1 is just x. So you end up with x equals negative 72. To check your work, you'd plug it in, and if we put in negative 72 in the place of x and divided it by 9, we would get negative 8. So it must work. Last example. Oh, before that, the number clue. The number clue is it's even. All right, you're zeroed in now. You've almost got enough information to get the mystery number. Okay, last example problem. This is done with a fraction, so you've really got to know what you're doing. On those other problems, you could just look and tell what the variable was, but now you've got to show the steps. On your work sheet for this, I will not check you off unless you show the steps, okay? So here we've got 2/3, I'm just going to copy down the problem again because it's a force of habit. X equals 2/9. Notice this is 2/3, which is a number, times the variable x equals 2/9. So what's the opposite of multiplication? It is division. So I am going to divide both sides by 2/3, okay? And there's lots of different ways that I could write that. I'm going to go ahead and write it like this. Oh, and I messed up this, this left-hand side. I'm going to write it the correct way. So it should be 2/3 x divided by 2/3, okay? Now this looks a little weird, 2/3 x divided by 2/3. So another way I could have written this would be 2/3 x divided by 2/3 equals 2/9 divided by 2/3. And it doesn't matter if you write it this way or if you write it this way. The same thing happens. 2/3 divided by 2/3 is 1, and 1 times x is just x. So what I would write here, I'm going to do the problem on the left all the way through, step by step. I know that these cancel each other out, and I'm left with x, because anything divided by itself is 1. And then the right-hand side, I'm going to have to do the computation. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to think, okay, what is, let me erase some of this confusing stuff. Okay, what is 2/9 divided by 2/3? Keep, change, flip. And I'm going to cross simplify here. And I'm going to get 1 over 3. So x must equal 1/3. And if we were to check that, we would plug 1/3 into x. So 2/3 times 1/3 should equal 2/9, and indeed it does. So that's all there is to it, guys. Do the opposite and show your work. We'll be doing a few example problems in class as well, because I know sometimes showing your work, sometimes we're not sure on how the teacher wants you to show your work. I'll explain it step by step how I want it to look. It should really kind of look like what I've done in each example, line by line. All right, guys, good luck to you.